Hello there. Welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and tonight I have a 2-page layout for you here, and it's actually the first layout in a 5-part series using our Love Notes collection. And this video tonight focuses on easy ways to add texture and interest to pages. We're using the Love Notes bundle, and the Love Notes bundle includes the paper pack and sticker sheet. We have a hero paper, gorgeous floral, little teddy bears and hearts, which is so cute. So you could go elegant, you could go juvenile. We have some word paper with a great ballerina dot on the back, a traditional stripe with some gorgeous scarlet and white hearts in the background. I love the zip strips. We have a heart strip, a floral strip, and a checkered pattern strip, which is my favorite. The bundle comes with the coordinating cardstock, which is 2 each of ballerina, scarlet, candy apple, toffee, shortbread, and white. It also includes the Love Notes stamp and thin cut, which has everything in blue being a thin cut, and then of course the stamp. Now I am not exactly sure if I'm going to incorporate the Love Notes stamp set into these 5 projects in this 5-part series, but I am going to incorporate the envelope. So this is a great envelope thin cut, and it has a nice scalloped envelope. You can add the seal, which is part of the stamp and thin cut set, and it's going to be adorable. We also get some foam hearts in this collection. Now, one of the reasons I may or may not add the stamp and thin cut to the scrapbooking pages is I just completed a series of rocker cards using that stamp and thin cut. And rocker cards have been around for a long, long time, and I was introduced to them by someone that I admire and my close to my heart upline, Naomi Smith. She is a card genius, and she knows just about every single kind of card that there ever is out there because she's been doing cards with close to my heart for well over 30 years. The rocker card is created by creating a 5.5-inch circle, scoring it in half, and then balancing with elements that don't go over the height of 4 1/4, so that when you fold it down, it will fit in a regular envelope. So I balanced those Love Notes icons on the top of the rocker card, and I love how the rocker card stands up on your desk, but you can fold it down and fit it in an envelope. So I did paper piecing on the chocolate hearts. I colored the flower bouquet with tri-blend markers, and I did paper piecing on the adorable little bear, his tummy and his paws. So, so cute. Now, I may also pull in the tailgate stamp and thin cut set because I love this pickup, and for some reason an old red truck with personalized license plates seems like it might fit with this theme down the road. I'm not using it on this particular layout, but I really love the idea of the old truck in this set, and I actually used a little bit of our Spectrum Noir silver metallic marker on the bumper and some other parts. Let's take a look at the Junk Gypsy tray. So I went ahead and took all the stickers off of the sticker sheet so that I could take the sticky off the back with the anti-static pouch. I put all of the possible title opportunities in one section. I put all of the circles in one section, all of the banners in one section, all the stars and the hearts in one section, and all of the extras in one section. And then in the back section are my Cricut elements. So in the banner section, we have some pennant banners and some dovetailed banners. In the circle section, we have rounded circles and scallop circles. We have small, medium, and large. We have some little button elements. And then in the smaller little sections, I have small stars and hearts. So for Cricut elements, I had envisioned to go with those sticker circles. I have some round circles with florals, and then I have some circles with starbursts, and I have ballerina scarlet and white, and then I have some stitched scallop circles that I thought might come in handy. I did create some tags on the Cricut, and so I did some white, scarlet, and ballerina of those as well, and I added a few shortbread, but I'm going to show you later on how to make the two-tone tags or to add interest to the top of the tags by adding a different color. And then we're also going to make some textured pattern paper that we're going to use for some different elements and backgrounds, because this video is all about adding texture in easy ways. Here's that envelope thin cut, and I created a few little notepad elements on the Cricut that will go in that cute little envelope. We're going to start off the video by making texture. Of course, this is about texture. So we're going to use a 12 by 12 scarlet cardstock. We're going to score it at each half mark plus an eighth. So we're going to go a half plus an eighth, a half plus an eighth, a half plus an eighth, all the way through the entire 12 by 12. Then we're going to rotate it and do that again the opposite direction and make this great checkered pattern. Then we're going to add some inking treatment to that and make a really cool textured background. It's an inexpensive way to jazz up cardstock and make a pattern out of cardstock to be able to stretch a whole pack, because I'm going to be doing 5 layouts in this 5-part series out of that same Love Notes collection. And so in order to stretch some of those pages, I'm going to be doing some fun things with cardstock and with texture as well. So while I'm scoring and you're watching me score here, won't you take a moment to hit like and subscribe and the notifications bell so you don't miss any future videos in this 5-part series. We're going to be having a lot of fun with the Love Notes collection, and we're also going to have the opportunity for a cheat sheet at the end of the series if you want a little additional help. So you can actually recreate by watching the videos, but if you want some more full color photos and dimensions with the cheat sheet, you can totally check out that option at the very end of the 5-part series. So now I'm going to grab some scarlet ink and I'm just going to rub across the textured side. So I forgot to mention that we were actually scoring on the light side of the cardstock so that the raised part of the score lines is on the true side or the dark side, so that when we run the scarlet ink pad over the top, we get this great pattern. A little bit of distressing in the pattern, but it's bumpy, it's textured, and it's raised, and it has a two-tone color then on the front, which makes for great backgrounds. Now we're going to gut this, but we're going to do a non-traditional gut. Instead of 1 to 11 rotate, 1 to 11 rotate, we're doing 1.5 to 10.5, 1.5 to 10.5, 1.5 to 10.5, all the way around, because we made this gorgeous textured frame. So why not have more of it show on the edge than what we typically have show on a gutted frame? I'm going to conserve the inner part of the square, and we're going to be making some extra fun things out of those extra pieces on this particular layout, as well as on some additional layouts in the series. So now we're going to repeat that performance and make 2 of those frames in the same way, and we're going to reserve the interior piece for some added extra. So let's talk about my photo inspiration. So I just spent the weekend with one of my girlfriends, and we've been friends for 46 or 47 years, and we are getting ready to plan our 40th class reunion. We agreed to meet in the middle. She's from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I'm from South Dakota, a rural area in South Dakota, and we decided to meet at this retro Airbnb in Omaha, Nebraska, in the historic Market District. And it is an old Woolworths building that was renovated into loft apartments. And they had this great record player that had the Beatles, the Beach Boys, and even some 80s Village People, YMCA. They had an old bubblegum machine. And right when I got there, I grabbed a piece of bubblegum and I told my friend, we're going to have a ball. So dry. I'll tell you a little bit more about the weekend and our happenings, but that is the inspiration inspiration for this layout. Now, there's pinks and browns and reds in the photos. That old bubblegum machine has some red in it, and I thought, why not try to make the love notes work for those photos? I thought that it would be a lot of fun. It doesn't always have to be lovey-dovey. It can be friendship and fun colors. So let's talk about these sizes a little bit. So on the base background, I have a ballerina 10 by 10, and instead of a traditional white square, I thought that I would make it a little bit smaller, and then we could do some things on the side. So I have an 8 by 9.5, and two of those in white daisy, and then I thought about using some of that leftover textured paper that we created as a base for those photos. So I cut that at 4 3/4 by 7, and I have two 3 by 4 photos. And then I cut two additional squares, 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, for two 4 by 4 photos, and then there's two 3 by 4 photos over on the right as well, which leaves a lot of white space. Now, I forgot to mention that I did cut this little sort of bracket piece on the Cricut, and I thought that might be a little nice added element over to the right. I don't know exactly where I want to put it. I don't know if I want it to overlap with the ballerina. And then I thought maybe we needed a transition piece like a zip strip. Now, I don't know how far across I want the zip strip, if I want it to go all the way across or if I want it to stop at maybe the journaling bracket. But because I don't know where the journaling bracket is going to go, I am going to leave it kind of where it is right now. So I made a bunch of 1 inch by 8 inch strips, and I think I started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I ended up adding an additional piece. We'll count those up again. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I ended up using 8, but I originally cut 7, and then I thought maybe I had too much red. So again, those strips are 1 by 8. I tore the bottoms of them, and then this is where I wanted to bring in the beautiful color. So right now, everything is really muted. So we had tone on tone where we did our textured background. So we have scarlet on scarlet, so kind of a two-tone scarlet base, and then the ballerina base, but we don't have a lot of vibrant patterns. So this is another way to bring in texture. So we're going to, by tearing, we're going to tear, and then we're going to bend those edges just a little bit to add another easy textured element. We have a lot of texture in the frame and a lot of texture in the photo mats because of the scoring that we did on that frame. And now we're going to add texture with these strips. So I was just arranging them, and then thinking a little bit about maybe adding a tag to that. It could be the journaling, but I think I'm going to journal over on that left bracket. I also have another little decorative Cricut element or tag here that we could put there to sort of break up all of that color on the bottom with a little bit of white. And I did end up adding that extra teddy bear strip. So I have a 1 by 8 of the ballerina dot, a 1 by 8, two 1 by 8s of the teddy bear pattern, a 1 by 8 of the flowers, a 1 by 8 of the word paper, two 1 by 8 candy apple, and a 1 by 8 ballerina. And I'm just coming in and using my scissors to help me grab the bottom torn pieces, and I'm bending them up a little bit and giving them a little bit more of a distressed feel. Now you can ink those as well. I opted not to do any added inking, but stencils in the back of the ballerina and the white, inking on the edges of the pieces. Lots of people love doing that. So now again, I'm not exactly sure how far under I'm going to put the journaling. I may go ahead and write my journaling out so I can see how much journaling I have and see if I need to snip that zip there in the middle, but I want to kind of figure out a few little clusters first. We have a lot to choose from, and clusters are a way to add added interest and texture as well by popping it up. So foam tape is what I consider adding texture because it's going to add depth and dimension. So I'm just kind of trying to decide which tag I want to use. I thought maybe this white tag, and then I was going to show you how to add texture to the tag by adding an added element to the top. So two-tone tags are super popular, or two pattern tags are super popular. So I've cut 1 inch by the tags. I should have told you the tag width. Let me check that here. I think they're 2 inches. Let's see. Yeah, they're 2-inch tags. So I cut I believe that top is 1 inch. Let me double check that too. It looks like it is about 1 inch by 2 inches of those patterns. Put that across the top of the tag, and then just created a two-tone tag. And so I did that with quite a few strips because I made quite a few tags, and then I can use those tags on all of my layouts in this 5-part series. So I'm going to actually just bring my hole punch back in and punch a hole. Now after doing that, I kind of think it's a little bit much with that pattern on the bottom. It's cute, but I don't know that I want to add another pattern on the bottom of all that, the textured patterns on the bottom. So I end up changing my mind, but I will use this tag and some other tags like it in some of the other layouts in this 5-part series. So I'm going to go ahead and use this cricket tag. It actually just has a fun little element on the bottom. I think if you turn it the other way, it almost looks like a bow, but I wanted it so that little wavy part was at the bottom, and I think I could probably incorporate one of the stitched scallop pieces that I made, circles that I made on the cricket, and then maybe some other sticker elements to add some popping up and some dimension on that. I think that's going to work. So instead of using the whole piece, I will probably trim off the little white tag there, as well as the ballerina scallop piece. I think that will work great. Now I'm still trying to decide about my little piece over there, so I go ahead and I add my journaling, and I had a lot to say because I have an amazing high school class, and it's our 40th reunion this coming summer. So in July of 2024, our 40th reunion, and we always have decade reunions, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, and now it's our 40th reunion, and it's time to plan. And we have lots of help. Our class is great, but my girlfriend, Chris, is a creative genius, and every year for all of our reunions, as well as for all of our high school homecomings and things, she would always write theatrical productions. And so we got together to do the theatrical production and get the base of that made. And then all of our classmates are actors in the production, and it's usually hilarious. We laugh and laugh, the deepest belly laughs, and we have some inside jokes from our class that we reignite, and we do lots of skits from Saturday Night Live and things like that. And so this was our pre-planning, and I'm kind of the organizational, decorative person dealing with like float decorations, and then I have a huge, amazing backup crew of friends, girlfriends that we've been friends with also for 47 years. So we just decided that we were going to go away, have uninterrupted time to get our base elements together for our 40th reunion, and that we were going to just probably be in the Airbnb in our pajamas doing our planning, texting and calling classmates, getting lists of who all's coming, and doing all of that work. And so I had a lot to write, and we laughed and laughed. We reminisced, we laughed, we got caught up on current events of each of our families, and we really enjoyed listening to the old records. And we thought it was so fun that the Village People was one of the records, and the record player actually worked, and so did the gumball machine. So now I'm experimenting here with some tags. I think that I need to bring in a little toffee. There's some toffee in the stickers, and there's some toffee elements in some of the pattern papers. There's also the browns in my vest, right? And some other tans in the record player, and I think that that would help get some color balance. That's been a theme that's been heavy on my mind lately, is achieving color balance. So having that little toffee tag, perhaps with a little bit of flavor in the top part by adding the teddy bear paper to the top, and then maybe adding the ballerina dot to the ballerina tag, would add just the perfect element up at the top. And then because we're kind of boxy, we have a lot of straight lines, we have a lot of squares, we should add some rounded elements. You always want to add something that can soften up some of the straight edges. So it's always a good idea, if you have a lot of squares, a lot of rectangles, a lot of strips, to add some rounded elements to those in one way, shape, or form. So now I'm just adding those tops to those tags. Again, 1 by 2 inches is the pattern paper piece that is added to a 2-inch tag. Let's see, I think the tags are approximately maybe 3 inches. So they're like 2 by 3, but they can easily be smaller. You can make those tags very easily by hand by just making like a 2 by 3 rectangle and snipping off the corners. That's a great way to make tags, super easy. So now I'm liking those additions up there, but there's a little bit of a gap at the top of the journaling bracket and at the side of the journaling bracket. So I'll probably have to come back in and do a little something that helps make that cohesive and sort of overlaps and ties those pieces together so it doesn't look so chunky. But I'm going to come in with some added foam tape for more texture. So we have texture in the background that we added by scoring and inking. We have texture that we added in the front by tearing and bending. We have texture that we're going to add throughout by using foam tape. So there's 3 little leaves, and even though there aren't really big florals in here except for floral circles, they gave us 3 leaves on the sticker sheet. And I thought these leaves might be perfect, adding that green in as a contrast color, and then doing a little bit of covering up of some chunks, and sometimes just having few little bits of stickers that overlap really helps everything just mesh together and not look clunky and chunky. And then popping up that heart sticker over the top of the scallop section there. And now I love the idea of adding those tiny stickers to the tag element because I was struggling with a title. So most of the titles in this set are kind of a little bit lovey-dovey, a little bit Valentine-y, you got Be Mine and Love and all of that. But I like the idea of the tiny little love sticker, or another sticker maybe over on the right that is small. Titles do not have to be long and large and bold. It can be a very subtle title. And I love our weekend. I love the little retro Airbnb. It was in an old Woolworths building that had the original brick and brownstone, and it was amazing. It was a little chilly because those old buildings don't heat that well, but what they did with the entire Woolworths building is they made them into themed lofts that were different themes of each loft apartment. And ours just happened to be this little retro. They had a little malt cups and malt making machine. They had, oh my gosh, an old Yahtzee game. They had all kinds of little retro things. And it couldn't have been more perfect for helping us channel the 80s to plan our 40th reunion. So I want to carry over and close out my visual triangle. So I have my cluster on the upper left. I have a little cluster on the tag on the middle on the left page, and I want to come back up to the upper middle on the right page. So I'm going to add a couple more tag elements, and then I'm going to add the little white scallop circle to that, pop up the floral, and there's one little green leaf left over that made it perfect. And then adding that little happy day sticker down below because it was a happy day. And I don't mind adding the little locator icon there because we're in a new location. We had a horrendous travel. So I didn't tell you that the temperature was 45 to 50 below, and we had to go through Sioux City, Iowa. She was coming from a different direction than me, but we both had to go through really bad weather, like 10 inches of snow, ice, and the interstate in her direction actually ended up closing, and she had to reroute, but the Airbnb was non-refundable. And we were wanting to be cautious and careful, and we were wanting to get there ahead of the cold. And once we got there, we literally walked through blizzards to get to some of the only open restaurants. So thank goodness we were in the Market District where we were literally up above restaurants and coffee shops, and it worked out great. In fact, it was perfect because we weren't tempted to go places and do a whole bunch of things to take away from our such wonderful conversations and catching up and hilarious laughter and planning. So now I'm adding a few clusters of those puffy heart stickers, a large, a medium, and a small on the lower right, and a medium and a small on the upper left to finish off the pages. And because those puffy stickers are a really neat rubbery feel, it's another easy texture. So now we have 3 or 4 or maybe 5 different textures in one layout to add added interest. And I love that I was able to write a long story and not take away from the decorative elements of the pages, but the base page is so simple and easy to duplicate. I hope you had fun and you were inspired to add easy texture to your pages. Again, please hit subscribe and the notifications bell. Shoot me a comment. It really keeps me going on YouTube and helps me sharing my love of paper crafting and all of my interesting series. Stay tuned for layout number 2 in the Love Notes series. Happy scrapping, everyone. Bye-bye.